Tonight, Toronto gears up its monkeypox vaccination campaign.
We wanted to get the vaccine out as quickly as possible, knowing that Pride is coming up towards the end of the month.
The battle to contain the virus and stigma towards the gay community across Ontario as more cases are confirmed. A commercial building in Hamilton is destroyed and partially collapsed after an early morning fire rips through the property.
There's a sense of culture that the residents from the community need and feel, especially when they're suffering from dementia.
A Toronto long-term care home opens up a new wing dedicated specifically for LGBTQ2+ residents.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. Health officials confirmed yesterday 21 cases of monkeypox in the province, 18 of them here in Toronto. Now this weekend, Toronto Public Health is hosting several monkeypox vaccine clinics. The clinics are for those who identify as male and belong to the LGBTQ community. Our Dahlia Ashby was at one of the clinics earlier today and joins us now in the studio. And Dahlia, that was one of two clinics that took place today.
That's right, Kelda. I went to one that was on 519 on Church Street in the Gay Village, and the other clinic that opened today was at Metro Hall, and they ran until about 5 p.m. today. There was a very long lineup. Some people I spoke with told me they had been standing in line for almost an hour. The clinics are for people over the age of 18 who are transgender or cisgender, who self-identify as male and belong to the queer community. To be eligible, they have to been in contact with someone who recently tested positive for monkeypox and have had 2 or more sexual partners within the past 21 days and have been diagnosed with chlamydia, gonorrhea, or syphilis infection over the past 21 months, have attended bathhouses, sex clubs, and other venues for sexual contact within the past 21 days, and have had anonymous or casual sex in the past 21 days. I spoke with Rita Shaheen, the Associate Medical Officer of Health with Toronto Public Health, and she says the clinics were set up to reach those most at risk of the infection, which right now it's gay or bisexual men who may have sex with multiple sexual partners. So TPH says they wanted to hold the clinic closest to where the community is.
We're trying to avoid the stigmatization of gay men. Monkeypox is spread, by close person-to-person contact. So close face-to-face contact or skin contact, and anybody could be at risk. It just happens that the first cases that we're seeing in the community are occurring mostly in gay men. There are a few suspect cases and probable cases reported in women. So we really have to follow the epidemiology of this virus carefully to see if it's moving into other communities.
I also spoke to people who were in line at the clinic. Some expressed concerns about speaking on camera because of the ongoing stigma around the infection. Others told me they wanted to take precautions with the ongoing Pride festivities. Here's what they had to say.
I just want to make sure that I'm safe before the weekend, and it's going to be a lot of parties and a lot of people around, so I think it's important to get the vaccine beforehand. I think when you read about it, then you'll find out it can affect anyone, not just the gay community.
We've been through it historically, so it's nothing new, but I'd hope that society would have sort of grown and learned from stigmatizing and putting us in a box, because this disease can really affect anybody.
People with monkeypox can develop symptoms like fever, headaches, muscle aches, and a rash that resembles chickenpox. That's according to TPH. And they say anyone who develops these symptoms or has been in contact with someone who was infected should isolate at home. And for those interested in getting their monkeypox vaccine, a clinic will be running tomorrow out of Alliance for South Asian AIDS Prevention, which is on 120 Carlton Street from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Kelda?
Thanks so much for that, Dahlia. Thanks. One man is dead and another seriously injured after a shooting in Etobicoke late Friday night. Emergency crews were called to the area of Scarlett Road and Scarlett Wood Court at around 10:40 p.m. Upon arrival, officers located a man suffering from gunshot wounds. The shooting happened in the parking lot of a housing complex. The man was pronounced dead on scene. Another victim walked to hospital with gunshot wounds. No suspect information has yet been released. And in Mississauga, a man in his 30s is dead after a shooting at a townhouse complex at Alana Glen and Stargazer Drive. It happened just before 1:30 in the morning. A man was taken to hospital in life-threatening condition but died in hospital. Peel police say the suspect fled the scene. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. And in Hamilton, a massive fire tore through a vacant commercial building earlier today, leaving it partially collapsed. Hamilton Fire Chief David Cunliffe says crews were called just after 6 a.m. to a 4-story building on King Street in downtown Hamilton. The fire was quickly upgraded to a 3-alarm, and the walls of that building completely collapsed. At one point, embers from the fire may have spread to an adjacent condo balcony, causing damage. Now, luckily, there have been no reported injuries, and the fire has been brought under control. Crews remain on scene, putting out hotspots and flare-ups. The cause of the fire is not yet known. Ontario is experiencing a problem with ambulances not being available. Now, this is called code 0 or level 0, when all ambulances are tied up and none can respond to a new emergency. The situation is particularly bad in Ottawa. CBC Lorenda Redicop looks at the reasons behind the delays.
The latest City of Ottawa numbers show no ambulance was available more than 500 times when someone called 911 in the first 5 months of the year.
Seeing it at a number like 526 is staggering.
It's called a code 0. The same thing happened when Ottawa City Councillor Matt Luloff's daughter was born 3 years ago at a birthing centre and had complications. One did eventually become available. He says shortages are more frequent now, sometimes caused by ambulances held up at understaffed hospitals, and says the city has been doing what it can.
Stationing paramedics at our busiest hospitals, hiring new paramedics, getting them on the road. The hospital is doing their part by creating more space.
It's a problem across the province. In Durham Region, east of Toronto, the paramedic services report sometimes code 0s have lasted just 30 seconds, other times up to 18 minutes. Nearby regions can then help out. Still, it's tough on paramedics.
They're tired, they're exhausted. I got to be honest, morale is low.
He says at times 85% of their ambulances are waiting at a hospital with a patient.
And it's not as simple as throwing additional resources on the paramedic side at it. This is a systemic problem that needs a systemic fix.
Some of those issues, a shortage of nurses, including in emergency departments, plus not enough family doctors, so more people heading to the ERs. Also, a shortage of long-term care and home care spaces that would get some patients out of hospital.
There are real capacity issues that are downstream from us, that what they do is they cause the entire system to back up all the way to our front door. And now everybody's affected.
He says they're working on collaborating more to better use resources, but says the solutions aren't easy or fast. This Toronto area nurse says changes are critical.
It could cost lives. It could cost lives if there's no improvements that are done.
The head of the Canadian Medical Association says this is a complex problem that not just one level of government can fix. Lorenda Redicop, CBC News, Toronto.
A panel from the U.S. Centre for Disease Control has voted unanimously to approve 2 COVID-19 vaccines for children under 5. Both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines will soon be available. There have been over 2 million cases of COVID-19 among kids between 6 months and 4 years old. Experts say young children are less likely than adults to experience the most serious outcomes of COVID-19. Now, here at home, Health Canada is continuing to review Moderna's submission for younger kids. One official says a decision could come in the next few weeks. All right, Kevin McKay from the Weather Network joins us now with a first look at the forecast. And Kevin, so many people out and about today, just a perfect day for that beautiful outside.
It's a great weekend as long as you aren't really counting on the heat to be in store, but the wind has been here and plenty of sunshine. Here's some of our strongest winds, and they're going to be replaced by some pretty cool temperatures. Timmins, they even have a frost advisory up to the north. If you're at the cottage, you'll be dropping down near the freezing mark, but that is all going to be coming to a change as we head towards Sunday afternoon, Father's Day, up around 20 degrees, still plenty of sunshine. and we're going to be staying dry right through the weekend. It's perfect timing. Watch that rain through Lake Huron. It's going to be more so staying back towards Michigan through the day, Sunday into Monday. Monday is more of a transition day. We're going to see the showers coming through, and we're going to see the temperatures start to rise. So if you're taking dad out for a round of golf, great morning to tee off, great afternoon if you're hanging out, and even a great evening if you're having a barbecue. Here's a little teaser for what's coming up this week. We do have some heat that's finally going to be coming back. If you really want the summer to finish strong, this is what's on our way.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. If you're looking to cool off, you can now take a dip in one of 10 pools the city opened today. They'll be open on evenings and weekends, with the remaining 45 outdoor pools opening up next Saturday, also on a partial schedule. All 55 outdoor city pools will be open on a full schedule when the school year wraps up on June 30th. Meanwhile, Line 2 of the TTC is closed between Jane and Ossington due to ongoing work on the tracks. The delays will last all weekend. Shuttle buses will stop at each station along the route. A small Ontario town has rallied to support its LGBTQ community by replacing Pride decorations after they were destroyed.
It's scary to think about some of these kids maybe not feeling that comfort anymore or safety in their own community, which everybody should feel a sense of belonging. And so, yeah, we've definitely seen them impacted, but they've rallied along beside us as well to say enough is enough.
Pride flags at a number of schools in Minto were either torn down or cut up, according to local police. They say decorations were removed on numerous streets as well. But Minto residents and businesses are banding together to replace those decorations. Yesterday, they installed new fabric bands on the light standards throughout the town in solidarity with Minto Pride. Meanwhile, Mayor George Bridge said over 300 people attended the Pride picnic last Sunday. A new wing at a Toronto long-term care home will be dedicated to LGBTQ residents. The space at Wellesley Central Place is believed to be one of the first of its kind in North America. Talia Ricci got a tour today and spoke to residents about what this means to them.
For Barry Van Buskirk, moving into the Rainbow Wing will provide more than just a home.
It's very comforting. It's very loving. I'd like to see it keep going because gay people aren't evil. Gay people aren't bad. They're loving. They're just wonderful, warm people.
Oh, love me.
Wellesley Central Place celebrated the grand opening of the new wing, which the Rakai Centers hope will provide a safe and comfortable space for LGBTQ residents.
It is a unit that has doors that are open and welcoming, very similar to what we have at Church in Wellesley.
Barbara Michelik says the staff are educated specifically on how to provide care for the LGBTQ community. There will also be curated programming for the residents.
There's a sense of culture that the residents from the community need and feel, especially when they're suffering from dementia. There is an extra level of education that our staff need.
For a lot of LGBTQ residents, they moved to Toronto from small towns. So they've been disconnected from their families for such a long time. And they need a place where they can still feel at home.
The Rakai Center says the Rainbow Wing has 25 beds, with plans to open another one like it at their new long-term care home set to open in 2025.
We benefit from people being able to be their authentic selves.
While the event is meant to celebrate the grand opening of the Rainbow Wing, organizers say it's also to give seniors the opportunity to participate in Pride Month.
Over the years, seniors have been gradually left out in so many different things like Pride because of its accessibility. And we're doing our part at Pride Toronto, again, to make sure that seniors are included in all activities that we do. I definitely hope that we're going to see a lot more of these safe spaces for seniors, and they should be able to enjoy their lives. They should not have to go back into the closet in their retirement age.
A sentiment shared by seniors like Barry.
Seniors are often looked over because they're considered too old to participate. And believe me, I'm not too old to participate.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal is complete, with reigning champion Max Verstappen grabbing the pole.
Verstappen and great exit. Never qualified on pole on the front row here in Montreal. Verstappen goes quicker. 1:21.2. That's the benchmark for Carlos Sainz to try and get above. He almost lost it out of the final turn, and he did lose enough time, sadly.
It was a wet afternoon for practice and qualifying, but the Red Bull was still able to come out on top. Verstappen was followed by former series champion Fernando Alonso and fellow Spaniard Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Canadians Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi qualified 18th and 19th. The weather is looking better for the race tomorrow afternoon, which is expected to be run in dry conditions. Organizers of the Canadian Grand Prix say the event is booming in popularity this year. Now, that could be because it was away for the last 2 years due to COVID, but many think Formula One's recent success could also be thanks to a Netflix series. Eli Glasner has more.
For years, Formula One depended on blistering speed to attract fans, but now that's changing.
If you told me, like, what is it, about a year and a half or 2 years ago that I would know as much about Formula One as I know now, I would have thought that you were lying.
I'm awake every single Sunday watching this race.
For me, it's heart attack after heart attack.
This is what's supercharging a new audience. The Netflix series Drive to Survive gives viewers the inside track on not just the strategies, but personalities of the men behind the wheel.
You don't back off on track.
Only a weakling would do that.
Last year alone in Canada, the ratings were up more than 100%, so more than double what we normally get. That does not happen in 2021 or 2022 in today's TV ecosystem.
Was I the only person not watching the show?
Like many, this fan discovered the show during the pandemic.
It's just like the drama of it, and it's like a little bit sexy because it's so exclusive and it's luxe. And then, you know, I mean, you got 20 guys who are all attractive guys. Of course, I'm going to be like, I've got favorites.
Hamilton has more wins than any other driver in Formula One history.
One of the biggest superstars to emerge is F1's only black driver, Lewis Hamilton.
The way I'm wired, I don't really have a filter. I say what's on my mind.
He's really holding people accountable. So when you talk about, has it changed anything? I think it's actually bringing more conversation around what does diversity look in the sport?
Now Hamilton has signed on as producer for a new F1 film starring Brad Pitt.
Zachary Robichon building up a huge lead.
This professional race driver expects a younger crowd in Montreal this weekend.
Now they're going because they want to see, you know, Daniel Ricciardo. They want to see, you know, whoever their favorite from the show is.
What a race!
And he says while the show may torque the behind-the-scenes rivalries, with new sponsors and superfans, the cameras are here to stay. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
Teen swimming sensation Summer McIntosh making a big splash today at the FINA World Aquatics Championships, winning silver.
Summer McIntosh, still just 15 years of age. She doesn't turn 16 until mid-August. What a wonderful swim that was.
The 15-year-old from Toronto swam the 400-meter race in only 3 minutes, 59 seconds, finishing second behind American Katie Ledecky. With the result, she smashed the Canadian record in the 400-meter freestyle. She also became only one of 4 Canadian women to ever swim the event in under 4 minutes. It's her first World Championship medal. The teen swam for Canada in last year's Tokyo Summer Olympics, winning 2 golds. An annual June tradition returned to Toronto's Fort York neighborhood this afternoon. A powwow was held in celebration of National Indigenous Peoples Month. Dozens of drummers and dancers were on hand to perform. Visitors were able to participate in activities and meet First Nations crafters and vendors. The event was put on by the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the City of Toronto. The Indigenous Arts Festival runs today and tomorrow at the Fort York Historic Site. We'll be right back. It was perfect weather for a run today, which is exactly what nearly 5,000 people did down on Lakeshore Boulevard this morning. That was the winner of the women's category in the Toronto Waterfront 10K, which made its triumphant return after cancellations the last 2 years. The event is organized by Canada Running Series. Participants ran and walked along Lakeshore Boulevard West while hundreds more cheered them on. The theme for this year's run, community. Runners were happy to see the event return after the pandemic had forced so many race cancellations.
Oh, it's awesome. Like, it's been hard the last 2 years for everybody not to be able to race, but to be healthy, to toe the line, to run next to people, you push yourself better, and it's just awesome. All these races and the money it raises for charity, it's amazing.
All right, let's go back to Kevin McKay now. And Kevin, tomorrow looking pretty good for Father's Day.
It's looking great. We had it lined up perfectly for the weekend for all the dads. I want to show you a little bit of a pattern setup, though, that we're looking at for this week to come. This is all the dry air that's keeping us cool and clear all weekend, and that's going all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico on the backside. That's all the heat and humidity in the prairies, and that is what's coming our way by the middle of the week. So there's our little finger of heat right into Manitoba. They're going to be feeling into the mid-40s for Father's Day. And once we see that rain start to push in through Sunday night into Monday afternoon, that's when the warm front's going to be moving in. So Monday's not going to be that great, but look at all that red back in Michigan. That's what's going to be coming our way for Tuesday. Unfortunately, Ottawa, they're still going to be underneath that rain for a Tuesday. But Toronto, we're going to be right into it. We were 33 degrees last Thursday. We might be pushing that again for Tuesday and Wednesday. So here's a look at some of our humidity. I was saying earlier, Timmins has a frost advisory for tonight. Well, they're going to be feeling about 40 degrees by the time we get to Tuesday. And look at the change Sault Ste. Marie is about to go through. 41 down to 19. That's the influence of Lake Superior into the GTA. If you do want some relief from that humidity, head along the 401, Whitby, Oshawa, Cobourg. That's where you're going to see the relief. Our humidity is going to break thanks to that flow off of Lake Ontario. So if you do like the heat, the GTA is going to be the place to be for this week.
And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We leave you now with some shots of the Taste of Italy Festival in Toronto today. Shannon Martin is back tomorrow night. Have a great night.